Hi, I'm NBAA's Pete Combs in San Antonio at the headquarters for Valero Energy Aviation. This is also the headquarters for PCAT, the Partnership for Corporate Aviation Training. It's one of the nation's premier business aviation safety events. Come inside, let's take a look. Inside, dozens of aviation professionals are getting ready to take part in an intense 3-day training program, one that would ordinarily cost them thousands of dollars. It's a program that Valero Energy Vice President of Aviation John White says was born of necessity.
We were having hard times, and I was looking for ways to cut my budget, but not cut any meat. We really didn't have fat, but are there other ways to do this and keep and be able to operate as we've operated, as efficiently as we've operated? And of course, training was on that menu.
If you look at any vendor offered course, I mean, your typical fees are $750, $1,000 per course. So you just multiply that by the number of courses and the number of people you have, and you get a round number. So, I would put us in the order of somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000 or so a year, 20 to 30.
The Valero Energy Aviation solution was a radical one. Why not gather together flight departments from around the region and train each other, each department taking on instruction in one or more areas of expertise? Valero pilot Ben Lewis came up with the idea, and even with the name. Wanting it to be something more than a safety stand-down, he came up with something a bit more extreme, the PCAT Safety Smackdown.
John White and several other companies got together, Zachary, HEB, Valero, and John White was the leader of the group initially, as well as Ben Lewis, and they set an example of teamwork, relationships, trust, building a program together that's going to provide value for everybody, and that's what they did. I mean, they paved the way for folks to come in and bring in their ideas and their expertise.
The idea paid off in a big way. Valero, HEB, and Zachary brought in almost a dozen other flight departments in 2008 to offer each other courses that would have cost each department tens of thousands of dollars for every participant. Instead, they offered the courses, all of them, for less than $200.
The funny thing about it is that overall the training is not only of equal quality, but it's of higher quality. And we can train, as you see, in 3 days we can train many events, and many of them are required training.
The PCAT Safety Smackdown has gained a strong partner in NBAA.
I think the most impressive thing is how people interact at a pure level. It's not someone that's selling a product to someone to train. It's not what someone's going to get out of it. It's just back to the way life used to be in aviation, which was pilots and flight departments helping other flight departments cooperatively.
How can your organization put together something like the PCAT Safety Smackdown? Hadley says it's a remarkable combination of dedication, flexibility, and of course, hard work.
Clearly, these are all people that have a day job, and this is all voluntary work that they do on top of their normal day job. This is an operating flight department. They are making flights in and out of this flight department during this 3 and 4 day program. So it's functionally operating, and it takes if you will, a multitasking by the volunteers to do all this sort of thing.
Let's look at 3 steps your organization can undertake to get a cooperative training venture like this off the ground. First, establish your organization's goals and potential offerings.
We started with core ISBAO types of courses, the kind of the meat and potatoes of courses that any flight department would want to offer. MEL training, international recurrent training, fatigue countermeasures, courses that flight crews would probably have to get anyway to maintain their certification. And that's kind of evolved over the years. In fact, this year we've kind of created 3 paths for Smackdown, courses that specifically address flight crews, the folks at the tip of the spear every day doing it all the time. Management types of courses for flight department managers and leaders in flight departments. And then the segment we added this year was an owner-flown segment. We've got a lot of operators out there who own their own airplane, maybe a small jet, maybe a a piston or a piston twin who fly their own airplane in their own business and needs some specific training that addresses their needs. So this year it was basically 3 tracks.
Second, create your infrastructure and identify your players.
The reason that we form the nonprofit is just for that, is we're tax exempt. We have an accountant, tax person that we deal with for our record keeping. It's very important to do that. But no, I think we've been a 501c3 for 4.5 or 5 years. And it's just something that if somebody's contemplating this model, they ought to do. I would suggest they we went through the process ourselves and then had it checked. I would suggest just hiring a tax attorney from the very beginning and going through it. It would be a lot easier. It's a hard thing to do, I have to tell you that. It's a hard thing to do.
If there are others out there in Montana, Hawaii, New York, Florida, who are contemplating a training consortium of this type, I wonder what they would expect in terms of financial challenges. What do they need to amass ahead of time, and what are they looking at in terms of ongoing expense?
Yeah, I think it's important to get a core group of corporations that maintain flight crew staff together and who are willing to pay a dues each year, and that initially can be the backdrop of the fiscal side of it, and then you'll have a lot of invitations from a lot of people who want to help. I would say initially reject that and look to network with other flight departments at first, owner operators, and get a network of subject matter experts. And then when you get an idea of what your pool is in whatever area you are, and then expand that to the vendor population, and they'll find some very cooperative and eager to help. They'll find some who want to be sharks and sell you more than you might need. But as a general rule, they're great.
The thing that NBAA does for us is it adds legitimacy to what we're trying to do. Steve Hadley, our regional rep, he's just been invaluable to getting the word out and getting NBAA speakers in here, particularly during the lunch sessions, to talk about what's going on in the industry.
We can help connect those people. We help them with speakers such as our leadership at NBAA. NBAA has over 10,000 member companies. Many of those companies are resources for safety presentations and safety materials. So it's a good networking. That's what we're all about.
One of the most important aspects of setting up your organization is having the right people in the right jobs. There are visionaries who help set the course for the organization and its offerings. There are the leaders who help turn that vision into reality. And then there are the people who get the job done. In this case, there's no doubt that PCAT could not happen without Connie Harrison.
Whoever the coordinator is, whoever that go-to person, I think you told me, a Radar O'Reilly, but I think that's who it needs to be. Somebody you know will get it done, somebody who can delegate well, who has good organizational skills, and who has a passion for it. You got to have a passion for it. It can't just be, oh, it's just something else I need to do.
Connie leads a force of Valero employees and PCAT volunteers who literally make this event happen. She keeps this train on the tracks, from the catering, which in this case is handled in-house by Valero's expert team of chefs and kitchen workers, to booking accommodations for instructors and participants alike. She arranges for the tables and chairs, the instructional materials, and the entertainment. This is Casino Night, a charity event where PCAT Smackdown participants get a chance to play some games and network outside of the classroom. The third key to a successful event like the PCAT Safety Smackdown is keeping it going.
The hurdle wasn't getting it off the ground, because I mean, the flight departments are enthusiastic people. They're people who know how to get things done, and so if you pique our interest, we're going to make it happen, and that's how it got off the ground. Sustaining it is that's the hurdle, and that's a battle every day, every year.
Keeping it fresh can mean a field trip to the San Antonio FAA control tower just across the airport from the Valero Energy Aviation hangar, or to the airport's elaborate ground control simulator. The idea is to keep stretching, reaching out for new activities and new experiences.
I think you have to try to keep it fresh and try to do different things. We may go to a number of one-day events next year, or we may stick with the same format, but I think people get used to a certain program, and they may say, well, I see this, I've been to this before, I know how that runs, and maybe I'm not quite that engaged in going to that again. So I think we owe it to ourselves to keep it fresh and change it.
For PCAT, that means a new president every 2 years. Shelley DeZavalos, with a passion for education, helped develop the idea of including owner-operators as well as corporate flight departments in PCAT 2014.
What would I tell somebody coming on? Patience, because when you're running something and in your real job and you're running something and you can say, hey, we need to get this done, let's get this done, you can direct that and get it done, whether it's you or somebody else. In a nonprofit, it's harder in some ways to get as much done as quickly, and I find that I'm having a hard time getting as much done as I want to, and it's just because your time limitations are there. If you're going to take this role on, make sure you've got the time to do it.
But there comes a point when you have to say, okay, I just need you to be honest. Are you going to be able to get this done in a, I need it like yesterday. Can you get it done tomorrow? If not, please tell me, because I'm going to have to do it myself or somebody else. And then I don't ask them again, to be honest with you. I just
take that one opportunity.
One opportunity. It's not, I'm not trying to be ugly, but some people they have a life. Something could have happened that they didn't share. So, because they didn't think about it. And I give them that opportunity, but I give them an out too.
I think you have to forget about perfection, and that's kind of hard to do in this business, because in the aviation business, you want everything to be perfect, because the tolerances are basically zero. Everything, you can't have a loss, you can't, because the consequences are so severe. So I think you have to shift gears a little bit and be willing to take less than perfect. And with your volunteers, you just have to meet them where they're at. They've got a lot of other time restraints on them, flight schedule, family, other jobs that they're doing. They participate at whatever level they can. So if things kind of don't go the way you want them to, the important lesson for us has been that's sort of okay. You're doing the best you can. You're not going to get perfection with a volunteer group.
Because in the end, it's about providing quality instruction at a remarkable price. Just ask the participants themselves.
If you can make it something you should make. So many people put it on their schedule like, if I'm not flying, then I'll go. But I think it's something that's worthwhile marking down, saying I'm going to be going, because it is invaluable. The courses that are provided are amazing, and you're getting such great experience in 3 days, all packed into one seminar.
Yep.
So,
Jeremy, what would you tell your friends about this place?
No, it's definitely something you need to go ahead and make. I mean, I was very last minute. Trent told me about the course. I was supposed to be flying during these days, and I actually canceled about 2 flights to come, and I'm very happy I did. I mean, meeting great people, learning a lot, it's extremely invaluable.
Of course, if you have questions that you'd like to ask about how to stage your own PCAT Safety Smackdown, bring them here. The folks who run this operation would be more than happy to answer them. Because after all, the whole point is to share knowledge. I'm Pete Combs in San Antonio. Thanks for watching.